3 years ago, Dr. Akizaki was exploring a mountain range when he suddenly stumbled across an ancient device. 3 years after that, a young boy was playing outside when he accidentally wanders into the Akizaki residence. To his horror, he finds 3 demonic figures performing a ritual in the garden. The 3 had summoned the monster DECKER over the sky of the region. 2 jets were deployed but swiftly annihilated by the monster, and the DECKER vanishes without a trace. After observing the visual footage relayed by one of the jets, Kirya noticed that the attacker bears a striking resemblance to the geoglyph DECKER. At that moment, the young boy called Superguts and told him about the monster ritual. It is then that Kirya learns about the ritual occurring in the property of his former teacher. Kirya heads to investigate. At first, Kirya is getting a warm welcome. However, his meeting with Dr. Akuzaki and the conversation they shared had planted seeds of doubt in Kirya's head. Eventually, he leaves, but increasingly suspicious, he returns to the house and sneaks in, and Kirya, to his bemusement, finds the Akizaki family locked inside of a room. Before the trio can warn him, the aliens manage to capture him as well. The real Dr. Akuzaki informs Kirya that the aliens are able to copy human DNA, and he reveals that the device he founded was an alien cloning device, and he accidentally revived the 3 of them. In ancient time, the aliens ruled Earth using the 3 geoglyph monsters. Kirya contacts Superguts and briefs them on the situation. Ryu is sent to rescue the trapped individuals, while the rest of the team embarks on the Guts Eagles. They manage to destroy the 3 monsters as they were developing. However, the aliens manage to focus their powers to revive DECKER because Superguts let their guard down after thinking they had won. When it appeared that even Asuka wasn't fast enough to catch up to DECKER, he transformed into Dyna. Though it was losing the battle for the Ultra, he managed to defeat the geoglyph monster once Ryu and Kirya killed the 3 aliens controlling DECKER. Later that night, Dr. Akazaki confesses to Kirya that the incident with the aliens had him traumatized and he's no longer wanted to research geoglyphs. Though with much pressure from Kirya and support from his wife and daughter, the professor eventually comes to ground to a heartfelt decision that continuing his research would be for the greater good of humanity. A TPC officer showcased footage relayed by the Neptune satellite next to the Superguts that shows a luscious green forest. The footage was taken on a newly discovered planet, a comet that had wandered into the solar system 1 month prior. Superguts is ordered to investigate this strange occurrence. Officers Asuka, Ryu, Kirya, Nakajima, and Koda depart on the Guts Eagle, while Koda stays behind to act as commander of the expedition. Asuka, Nakajima, and Ryu and Kirya begin exploring in pairs. Strangely enough, oxygen and gravity are similar to Earth, as they ponder why such a beautiful forest could appear on a rogue shooting star. Meanwhile, Koda suddenly cut off from the headquarters. May suggests that the signal was being jammed and the planet was most likely the cause. Asuka and Nakajima spot an unidentified life form in the wilderness and begin tailing it, much to Nakajima's dismay. Meanwhile, Ryu and Kirya collect samples. However, the ones they collected suddenly vanish from their hands. Eventually, Asuka and Nakajima enter a cave and find a man-made ruin along with a pile of corpses. Just then, the creature from before appears. After noticing that it was hurt, Asuka treats his wounds. The creature then leads the pair to a room where finally they learn the truth. The forest was actually a hologram that had to be made to seem ultra realistic by a gas. The beautiful appearance of the forest used to lure aliens into it before killed by a monster. The creature reveals to Asuka that his owners were victims of this trap. At that moment, the monster and the illusion of the forest vanishes, reveals a rocky wasteland. In the ensuing breakdown of the cave, Asuka and Nakajima split up, the former being trapped under some rocks and the latter forced to return to the Eagle without his companion. To make matters worse, Asuka had been separated from his life flasher. Fortunately, the creature managed to move the device towards him and allow him to transform into Dyna. Though Dyna managed to hold his own initially, he eventually gets overwhelmed by the monster. But after the creature shows the monster's weak point, he transforms into Strong type and kills it. After defeating the monster, the comment begins to crumble and Supergods are forced to leave, thinking they have left Asuka behind. However, much to their delight, Asuka reveals himself to be in the cockpit along with the creature. He names it Henjiro. One autumn evening in a certain quiet town, the sun begins to set. In the shadows, however, Himura had arrived on Earth, standing upon a hill. He admires the beauty of the town. Back at the base, Nakajima accidentally set off the printer when he slipped and crashed into it. Strangely, a long strip of paper was printed that bore the words "The towns are mine" and was signed by Himura. Himura brandished a red card before tossing it into the sky. It stretches and covers a chunk of the town and remove the entire sector. Asuka and Kirya, who were on patrol in the town investigating Himura, proceeding this, Himura cast 2 more cards and later caused the vanishing of 2 more towns. Asuka and Kirya continues their investigation into the night. The two spot a suspicious alien and Asuka rushes to confront him. Himura reveals that he only came to Earth because he wanted to steal something which he deems beautiful. A town in Sunset. The 2 officers pursue Himura for a brief moment before the alien fires a red beam at them. When the 2 open their eyes, they find themselves in the vanished sector of the town. Asuka and Kirya aimlessly wandered the stolen city. Meanwhile, Supergod had begun an investigation and deduces that the towns had been teleported to somewhere. However, the location is still a mystery. Ryu is searching the skies while Koda and Nakajima are out. While Himura prepares his escape inside the town, Asuka fires a laser constantly in attempts to break the fake sky. Fortunately, the laser has managed to penetrate the outer world and was detected by Mei. Koda and Nakajima head to the location that was detected where they find Himura. Nakajima managed to seal the box and enraged Himura goes to giant size. At that moment, a small light emerged from the box and entered Himura's body. This is Himura's world. Dyna would do battle with him. A brief scuffle later and Dyna managed to knock Himura into his spacecraft that was about to take off. The towns emerged from the prison box and were finally returned. 3 young boys are searching the ground in hopes of uncovering the UFO parts spotted by one of them, Takashi. However, once they discover the fragment, they find that it's marked with Made in Japan label. The other boys ditch Takashi due to his lies, which prompt him to throw firecrackers at them. Once he returns home, he gets scolded by his mother. By sheer chances, he spots from his bedroom window a glowing object falling. He runs to the scene. There he finds 3 strange men and a large box. Though he soon discovered that the 3 men are actually aliens and manages to spot a mechanical kaiju being assembled. Takashi calls the police and Supergods. The 2 officers attempt to storm the factory that Takashi had claimed was the ground of the aliens, but they greeted with a completely normal factory with 3 workers, earnestly working hard at creating kaiju toys. Takashi was returned home while Kirya learns from the boy's mother that he often lies to gain attention. Asuka indulged himself on Takashi comedic mangas, of which he finds greatly amusing. He even took some back with him with a promise to return them to Takashi the next day. That night, Takashi snuck out of his house in attempts to prove his case. He managed to infiltrate the factory but was forced to hide once the aliens returned. He was eventually spotted but managed to escape and outrun them. Back at the Super Gods headquarters, Asuka continued to read the manga that he borrowed from Takashi. Captain Hibiki finds him and scolds him, though he was saved by a call by Takashi claiming they have seen aliens. Asuka is reluctant to depart but is forced to when Takashi blackmails him with reporting Asuka for stealing his manga. Asuka and Takashi enter the factory and are taken by surprise and subsequently captured by the aliens that explain their plan to colonize Earth using a 400-meter tall monster. As the sun begins to rise, signaling of the dawn of a new day, the aliens are distracted. Using this opportunity, Asuka and Takashi fight back and escape the factory. In the ensuing chaos, the aliens are forced to mobilize their incomplete mecha. Super Gods attempt to intercept the mecha but are led in a circle thanks to the mecha's multiple faces and fighting style, confusing them. Asuka transforms into Dyna and does battle with the mecha, inhaling a great portion of laughing gas in the proceeding. To combat the three-faced threat, Dyna transforms to Miracle type and multiplies himself to attack simultaneously from three angles. His continuous strikes and hand shooters force the aliens to flee. On the moon, Super Gods explore an ancient ruin that called the Valley of the Kings. The Super God drill falls and they find out that the gravity levels are higher than on Earth. One of the TCP researchers kicks a door and it opens and they discover a shrine with a chest. When they open it up, the communication drops for a second and Kirya gets possessed by something. The rest of the TCP soldiers wake up later. They start attacking other TCP soldiers until the possessed Kirya comes in and they start fighting. But they weren't successful and got defeated by the possessed Kirya. But then the rest of the team of Super Gods arrives and they learn the thing that possesses Kirya is a king named Isiris. Then all the power in the base goes to fire a laser to shoot at the moon, to bring the moon straight to Earth. Isiris takes control of a monster while Super Gods fly to space to fight it off. The possessed TPC soldiers tell them that the only way to stop them is to stab the body in the coffin with the sword. Asuka flies out to space to help the rest of the team, then he transforms into Dyna. Dyna and the monsters starts fighting while at the base the rest of the team tries to get into the room with the coffin. When Dyna starts struggling against the monster, Kirya stabs the body inside of the coffin and then Dyna turns into strong type and finishes the monster off. Kirya, Ryu and Asuka look up at the moon. The TPC was doing a search in the forest for a mysterious flying object that crash landed to Earth. They research the pilot and take off his mask and they discover that he looks like a human. When Mei comes to his room, he wakes up and Ryo interrogates him but he doesn't answer any of her questions. But Mei claims that he introduced himself to her and told her that he is a planetary investigator that goes by Shion from the Kora Nebula. Kojima believes that he has clear intentions. A monster appears in the city, so Super Gods deploy. When Ryo leaves Shion, he speaks and asks to talk to Mei. Super Gods use a net to hold the monster still because there are still civilians around, but the monster vanishes. Nakajima explained that they detected an odd electromagnetic wave before the monster vanished, almost like it's a warning call to the monster to teleport. Shion told Mei that he was sent to confirm of the existence of humankind, but Ryu is not fully believing in his story. Mei teaches Shion about flowers and Shion gives Mei a stone. A TPC general comes into the Super Gods command center and tells them that the monster and Shion might be connected. At night, Shion mind controls Mei to give him all the classified information from the TPC headquarters. But Ryu goes to his room and discovers what he was doing and Shion tries to escape, but Asuka holds him down while Ryu destroys the stone. But he managed to escape to his ship and the monster reappears. Asuka and Ryu start fighting the monster. Ryu asks Shion how he feels about Mei. He tells her that he's grateful to her because of people like her it makes it easier to invade. And then Ryu gets hit, but when Asuka avoids one of the monster's attacks, one of the monster's arms gets shot off, but Asuka got hit, made him transform into Dyna, and he and the monster starts fighting. Ryu shoots a rocket into Shun's ship and Dyna destroys the monster with his beam. Ryu lies to Mei about Shun's intentions. Asuka and Nakajima visit Hanjiro in the TPC Biological Research Institute. The scientist who has been studying Hanjiro was one Dr. Otomo. Asuka and Nakajima plays with the creature. The doctor's assistants inform his teacher that he's been ordered to appear here before the South European branch of the court inquiry. The next day, Superguts discovered that the doctor had fled in his personal plane alongside with his assistant. Superguts dispatches and headed toward the Zarina region, a zone with an intense magnetic field. Asuka, Koda, and Nakajima press forward and the three finds themselves on an uncharted island. Suddenly, the monster Shieldron and Silvergoon appears and begin to brawl. After a short scuffle, the Silver Beast crushes the life out of the insect monster using its tail. After Nakajima scares Silvergoon away by shooting its eye. The trio spot the assistant spying on them from a distance. Superguts give it a chase and they manage to catch him, who escorts Koda and Nakajima to the doctor's laboratory while Asuka returns to his jet. The doctor greets the pair upon their arrival and he reveals his plan to create clone monster in order to advance the Neo Frontier. Now his plan is to extract Hanjiro's intelligent gene and insert him into his new hyper-clone monster, Neosaurus, thus creating the ultimate monster. But before he can continue with the extraction, Asuka blows apart the wall of the lab. However, in doing so, he attracts the attention of the clone Silvergon. The doctor quickly escapes and deploys Neosaurus in order to defeat the clone. The two beasts duel, but Silvergon is no match to Neosaurus' pure brawn and is quickly, in an act of pure lack of intelligence, Neosaurus kills the doctor. Asuka attempts to attack the monster but winds up his jet getting destroyed. However, he was able to transform into Dyna at the last moment. From the beginning, it's clear that Dyna is completely outclassed by the monster's sheer strength, and he is quickly placed in a tough situation that prompts him to transform into Strong type. But even in Strong type, Dyna is barely keeping up with Neosaurus' powers. Using its beam against it, Dyna managed to amputate the monster's tail before finishing it off. Afterwards, Nakajima and Koda mourn the death of the doctor and Asuka. At that moment, however, Asuka reveals to be still alive, claiming to have ejected in the nick of time. The three relax after a long day and play with Hanjiro on the island. A spaceship hovers over a city and shoots a beam that makes everybody pass out. Superguts deploy to the city and they start attacking the ship and it roars. But they need to stop their attacks because there are human souls inside of the ship. They regroup, but before that, Ryu tries to save a child but get taken by the ship. Nakajima invents a bracelet that would allow them to enter the ship without losing their soul, but only for 19 minutes. Asuka and Koda are headed to the ship and they enter it, but the ship starts flying, and here they learned that if Zombia is still alive, the souls cannot exit the ship. But before they can get out of the ship, the captains wake up and takes Koda. But Asuka transforms into Dyna in the ship, blasts the captain, and the ship starts to crash. Dyna teleports Koda to the outside. Dyna and Zombia starts fighting. Zombia starts teleporting over and over again, and then makes copy of himself to confuse Dyna. But Dyna transforms into Miracle type, but he almost gets caught by it. But Superguts help Dyna by shooting it, and then Dyna destroys Zombia and he releases all the souls. At night, a couple's car starts moving on its own with a mysterious figure lurking in the sky. This has been a reoccurring situation, and all of the female victims are from the same all-girl high school. Asuka and Ryu pay a visit to the principal of that school, but in the middle, a student named Hojo interrupts to return a book about rituals. Hojo regroups with her friends and they ask her if they're going to call Sigil again, and she answers yes to get rid of her schoolmates. At night, Asuka and Ryu return from the school, but Asuka starts losing control of his car and it starts moving on its own because of Hojo and her friends calling Sigil. Asuka gets control back to the car and shoots Sigil. Hojo believes they are not strong enough and they need one more person. At the next day, she tries to recruit an old friend of her, Yuki, with telling her that the swimming team captain doesn't allow her to swim anymore because she lost the competition. Ryu discovered that last night they were summoned to that road because the shape of all of the points of disappearance are about to make a pentagram. At the same time, Hojo got Yuki to join them and she tells her that Sigil punishes just bad people. Asuka and Ryu are waiting at the last place to complete the pentagram and the girl starts their ritual and Sigil is summoned and he tries to take the captain, but Ryu shoots him and he disappears. The next day, Asuka and Ryu goes to the school again, and Yuki gestures to Asuka to come with her, and she and the rest of her group push him to the pool, while Ryu goes to the principal office, and she discovered that Sigil pretended to be the principal and made the girls give him his powers back. Yuki stops Hojo from drowning Asuka, while Sigil eats Ryu and grows larger. Asuka transforms into Dyna and he and Sigil starts fighting. He transforms into Miracle type and he tries to finish Sigil off, but he starts hearing and seeing all of Sigil's victims. And then he even takes a shot from the God's Eagle to protect Sigil. Hojo believes that destroying the magic circle would release all the victims. They jump into the magic circle together with a mirror and all of Sigil's victims releases from his body. Dyna creates a black hole and it sucks Sigil away.